The Brooke and Ed Show are back on 101.4 FM, and we have some very exciting news because we've got a very special guest in the studio, Michael McKell. Hello, Michael.
Hello,
He can't come in, he's got a coffee.
Yeah, there we go. There you go, Michael.
Get in here.
It's the royal
Stop
entrance.
misbehaving.
Because what we had the idea for Michael was that we're going to have like some music, right, lights, and then a red carpet sort of coming out. But instead, we abandoned that and we just said, hey, Michael, why don't you just have a sip of your coffee outside and he comes stumbling in. And that's how we've done it. Because it's a down-to-earth image for Michael.
Absolutely, I can flow with it.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us on FM, because you've had a pretty explosive week, to say the least, and literally, obviously on Emmerdale with all that's going on, so it must be fairly hectic for you at the moment.
I mean, you've done what, Loose Women, you've done The Right Stuff.
Yeah, and now
an action statement?
The big three. The big three.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry, that's not for me to judge. That's a tabloid issue. So if you are listening, The Sun, we could split this 50-50. I mean, this is fine.
So, I mean, you've worked on all these great soaps, and you've just finished with Emmerdale, is that right? So we were going to ask, Ed and I were just thinking, how do you manage with the stamina of working, doing all these long shifts?
It's not digging holes for a living, so it's very easy. I talk, the actor listens, they talk, I listen, that's how easy it is.
That's quite hard for me, because I do stand-up, but I can't do acting, because what happens, I say my line, and then I get bored, so I start looking at my shoes or thinking about
you
sandwich.
have an attention deficit.
I think it's just in that respect, though. I mean, that's the only thing. Because I think I can...
It's like when I talk on this show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wanders off.
Whatever that noise is over there that comes up every so often, that's all I ignore. See, and then we just carry on. But no, I kind of... That's amazing, I guess, acting. Because you sort of purely... Is it sort of... Because you've done sort of soaps and stuff and you've appeared in sort of films. Did you have a kind of a classical sort of acting thing, or did you get into
No,
that?
I came via the music industry. I had 3 record deals. My first deal was when I was a kid with Phonogram, then I had 2 solo deals.
So you were like sort of the Michael Jackson of the South East, possibly.
The Michael Jackson, interesting comparison. I actually told my children for many years that he and I were parted at birth.
And they believe you.
And they did, up until when he was going to tour. And so Claudia said to me, so we're going to see your brother? I said, yeah, of course.
You were part of the Jackson 6, and then it
no, I taught him how to dance and everything, but it was quite how we were parted at birth, and I taught him to dance, but with children, their imagination is a lot broader than ours.
It's true. Or they'll believe anything. Is the other way of putting it.
It's just a little bit of magic that was extended.
It's like I told my sister she would go to jail for emotional blackmail. So I used to use that because she used to look up to me as I was the older sister. So whenever she used to say, well, I'm telling mummy on you, I'd go, well, you'll go to prison for that because that's emotional blackmail. And she would cry and run off. So she always behaved.
Is she still in therapy?
So she's gone as far away from home as possible, so I might read into that. So do you think people mistake you, like, as your character in real life? Because with soaps, you get so attached to the person.
I think with that
it's your
particular
daily
genre,
life.
that's exactly what it is. Shane Ritchie's a good mate of mine, and people would still shout out Alfie. Well, his name's Shane.
Yeah.
But
and even in the press, they refer to you as, like, when I was in Doctors...
Yeah.
Dr. Nick, as it turns out, my name was Nick in Emmerdale as well.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But they refer to you as the character, not as the actor. With movies, they'll say actor Michael McKell who plays. It's a different thing.
If your character has done something particularly malicious that week on, say, Emmerdale, and then you go into like a petrol station, would the petrol station attendant be like, "You got a little nerve showing your face around here"?
Well,
would they take it that seriously?
An interesting reaction because women have responded on Facebook like, I killed 2 people in this show, and they sort of wanted me to get away with it because they liked it.
Right, this is what I was going to say. It's that bad boy image, isn't it? It's very attractive to women. Okay.
Well,
to Brooke it is. She essentially wants to be decent romantically.
I mean, you may not... John Gotti was a mafia boss.
Yeah.
His trials, when he used to enter court, there used to be women outside. I mean, we're talking about like Beatlemania, throwing their underwear. Well, this was a known criminal who was a gangster who had people shot.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will be sad to see you go. And what's next? Is it? I mean, obviously we're here. We've got the single. We'll be playing that later. But I mean, next step for acting. You've been involved in
acting.
great film.
I've got 2 films coming out. Will and Acts of Godfrey. Acts of Godfrey is with Simon Callow and Harry Enfield.
Oh, excellent!
Cedar Emery plays my mother in that. I worked on a little film with you, in fact.
Yeah.
Called Death, directed by Martin Gooch, which is a mystery. It's set in an old stately home, and people find out things they didn't know they were going to find out. So I've got that, and also with the album coming out, which is a big project that came about because of the Born Free charity, really, because I did a concert at the Albert Hall with Bryan Adams. And,
oh my, amazing.
Had such a great reaction to Save Me, which is a single, that Ian Werry, my friend, since school and our first bands together, I've written an album, produced it, and it's out on the market.
Great.
Yeah, brilliant.
Well, we'll be playing that later.
Did you wander off during that?
No, I was listening. I got every piece.
There's a little bit of glaze, I feel.
That's flu. This is ibuprofen. So
there you go.
that's a different topic altogether. Actually, I did actually want it because obviously we're going to hear your stuff. But one thing I wanted to know was in terms of working on a soap, like, you know, having worked on a soap, what is it sort of day in, day out? Does it ever become a claustrophobic sort of place?
No, it's. I've worked on. Well, I've actually worked on 3 3 eps of EastEnders where I played a gangster who comes in and kills somebody.
You're getting bits typecast.
25% of
the whole reason. Exactly. The whole
characters.
reason I did Doctors was to show people I could be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I could be gentle.
Right. Well, you get more Facebook pokes as a result.
Possibly not. But it is hardcore work in that you are learning script constantly. On Doctors it was hard because at that time there was only about 8 main cast. So you're in every day, you're shooting about 23, 24 scenes a day. To give you an idea, on a movie, they may take a week to shoot a scene. We're doing 20, Emmerdale wasn't quite as hectic because there are more cast members. So it's dissipated somewhat. Although if you have a major storyline, then you're going to be like the last couple of weeks on Emmerdale. It was just 2-handers with me and Sammy Winwood. So you are on and you're working hard, but you're not. As I said, it really isn't hard work. In the real world, it really isn't hard work.
No, as opposed to...
I'm not a nurse working back-to-back shifts.
No, there is that. Although there's probably about as much drama in the hospital, isn't there, really?
Yeah, but that's real life.
Yes, exactly.
Just pretend. My son says you do something very silly for a living, Dad.
Well, you know,
out of the mouths of babes.
But I think that I always find it weird. This whole soap experience is that because of sort of there's a limited amount of characters generally. Something momentous. This is particularly EastEnders, which I grew up sort of watching.
Okay.
And something momentous will happen to someone. Say like Ian Bill, he'll lose his business. You know, everything will go to hell, and he'll suddenly realise the error of his ways after all this time. And you know, he'll just be broken down emotionally and as a character. But then, unfortunately, because then you know you'll go on to someone else. The next week you'll see him in the background, just like, you know, as usual, back to usual.
But that sort of happens in life, doesn't it?
But he's got to hit the reset every so often.
Yeah, you do have to hit the reset, but as long as you've got an eye on where your characters come from, because producers and writers are fairly smart, and they will write according to where the character's been. There's almost like a Bible of where that character will have been, and you address that. Obviously, you're not going to have huge switch of a character, like a huge character change, unless they go crazy, obviously. But I moved to a small village out of London when my daughter Claudia was born, and I've seen shows like Emmerdale. I think, can so much happen in that? Well, I live in a village where there was a guy who went off and killed his whole family. He killed his father, his mother, he was adopted, his sister, and their two six-year-old twins, so he could inherit the fortune. We've had various sexual things happen.
Swingers?
No, not well. There may be that existing that I don't know about. I'm just not in that club. There have been gangland shootings. A guy who was an assassin. and it
Have you ever thought of moving?
no, well, that's what I mean. I moved to this quiet little village, and it was all happening.
Yeah,
so
no, it sounds like it. I mean, I live in Brixton, and I think the worst thing that's happened is that the neighbour lost their cat. I mean, that's some pretty emotional, dramatic stuff going on right now. I'm like, but where can the cat possibly be? You know, we'll just be.
Did you
all
put
night.
posters up?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did. We
I always think they're a bit sad when you see those. Have you seen Tabby? Last seen on Tuesday.
Oh no.
He wears a collar with T written on it.
The boys are talking
no,
about
he's dead.
cats all of a sudden.
Responds to the name Tabby or something
Yeah.
like that. You're not going to go, Frank? Oi, Frank.
Which is a total lie, because I had a cat, Lily, who, when we lived in Greenwich, the bloke over the back thought he owned it because she lived there during the day when he was there, and then came out home.
Ah, it's
so she was getting like...
Manipulative female,
It's a cat
it sounds
with two
like.
families.
It's a cat.
I hear
It's a
about
cat
these
phone,
things.
yeah.
So, how old are your children? You've got a young family?
I've got a 12-year-old Joe, 13-year-old Louis, and Claudia Grace, who's nearly 15.
And do they watch all the shows?
Well, a lot of the stuff that I've made, they can't watch because it's quite violent.
And do you stop them from watching that?
Yeah. I wouldn't say go and watch Essex Boys to my kids because it's not very nice.
No.
It's a great film, but
Yeah.
it's not what I want my kids to be watching.
Fair enough. Well, would you like to introduce your single?
In the style of...
Do something with those. Hi.
This is a song written by myself and the talented Ian Worry, and it's called Save Me.
This is On FM on 101.4.
We were actually talking about do's and don'ts earlier,
Yeah.
and so we want to get Michael's take
Yeah.
on the do's and don'ts of breaking up. Mike, is there anything that you
You just called me Mike.
I know. I see.
Is that a
Why do I
don't? Is that a
wear a
don't?
Pringle
Is that a
jumper?
don't?
That is a don't.
No, but now we're doing do's
Now
and
it's
don'ts.
kicking off.
Yeah.
Get the Gangster's Paradise on.
This is a new layer. This is a new layer of intimacy, Mike. Ooh. But have you got any do's and don'ts for us? Anything you would say? Do
In a
not,
relationship, never say, I think I need some space.
Mike.
Oh.
That'd be the double whammy.
Yeah.
That'd be
Because it's all off. All bets are off.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, space is right because I need some space free of you. Really,
That's
that's the thing.
That's it.
I need you rather than you're sort of a big fat orbiting planet annoying me. I want you to go away.
When people come on and say, are you in my space? Yes, now. Just did a TV show, and we were talking about first and second marriages. Never introduce your wife as, and hello, this is my first wife.
Yeah.
Oh. You know, it's quite interesting. My mother.
Then do you sort of make them stand in order of where they go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, you're
This
third.
is before,
you just come
this
here.
before the second one's come along. It's just that in that
Yeah.
anticipation.
I
that there
see
will
what
be a
you
second.
mean. Before
Yeah.
you're married
You
again.
don't call a movie part one, or you don't
No.
say this. Yeah, it's the sequels. You don't want to say how many.
What about the line? Let's be friends. Is that a do or a don't? Because I couldn't decide on which category to put
Well,
in
depends
this
if you
in.
want to be friends. I mean, be honest.
Yeah.
Don't tell lies.
Yeah.
It will bite you on the bum.
Yeah. But I think that the reason why people say do be friends is because the sort of someone that you've probably spent more time with than your family and your closest friends, it's now going to be completely out of your life. So it's like sort of more of an easing process
And also,
of the
it
aftermath
would-
instead of actually just wanting to be friends.
It'll just turn up to being friends with benefits, in my experience. That's the.
What you get
That's
the government.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get paid to have friends.
All
That's a new scheme.
all my relationships are paid for by European grants. That's it. There's no way I could date supermodels. I have the financial resources maybe to take them to Wimpy at best. But thanks to lottery
That's
funding,
a bit retro, wimpy.
yeah, Wimpy still exists.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have time for on the Brooke Show.
Yeah, we
Wimpy.
plugged Wimpy. That's why we meant to do that all day.
Go to Wimpy.
Don't forget about Wimpy. They've got good food. They need your custom.
You're on main oats of franchise or something. It's a little plug.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's an amazing single. Best of luck with the album. Where can we download it from again?
Download it. Available on iTunes. The album's called Shower Over Moon Street. The single's called Save Me.
The Brooke and Ed Show.